are live. Okay, welcome back, everyone. Literally, it's been 3 months to Star Trek Next Frontier, first of 2022. Hey, look at that. How happy. We're just going to jump right into it this time. I think we had a lot of preparation. So, just as a reminder of what's going on, it's listed in the Discord. Uh, from the last episode, when the away team with Captain Savick, Lieutenant Thadagia, and Lieutenant Drake, you were crashed on the ice planet. Well, not really crashed, but you were stranded on the ice planet AK-807b. While there, you came across a really crashed old Federation shuttle called the U.S.S. And Lieutenant Drake, you were actually able to download the logs completely into your tricorder before Lieutenant Thashran had a little unfortunate, shocking accident while trying to, which he denies ever happens, but which he had that shorted out all the power. So you managed to get all the data. Meanwhile, back on the deGrasse Tyson with the whole subspace rift and the beaming from a different universe being rescued, there was an unfortunate incident when one of the beaming crew, don't know what that was about, but sure, when one of the beaming crew was accidentally became unfazed with this reality, since that was only a temporary solution from the transporter, and he detonated and destroyed all the sick bay, caused hull breaches, killed a crew member in the blast too, severely injured Dr. Arden, the chief medical officer. So the ship had to eventually go back to Narendra Station, where you are operating out of on your exploration of the Shackleton Expanse. You were at Narendra for probably around a month's time, getting the ship repaired. And plus, now that the Dominion War has just ended within the last 2 months, other starships are starting to come into the sector again, back on Starfleet's exploration mission. So you were able to get some more crew members, some more transfers. Dr. Arden, of course, being severely injured in the blast, his treatment is going to take a lot longer than you had shore leave while the ship was being repaired. So the ship had to set out again without Dr. Arden, but as there was no other qualified CMO to take his place at the time, the next best choice that Captain Savick agreed on was assigning Lieutenant Thadagia as the acting CMO for the ship, as he basically is the stand-in for Dr. Arden in most of his duties anyhow, due to, as we all know, Dr. Arden's emotional state. So it's not really a change for Thadagia, it's just a lot more work for him, but he's pretty much retaining the same duties he had before, but now a bit busier. You're cool with that, right, Thadagia?
Correct. I am fine with this.
Okay. So again, it's a slight promotion, but it's not a full official promotion. So you'll get there eventually, and maybe you could use this if you want to as a jumping off point to perhaps become the actual CMO in the future, if that's your desire. The next thing also was due to Lieutenant Alder's very creative solution when the whole ship was locked out. Had Commander Locke not been able to contact Starfleet Command, or not Starfleet Command, but Admiral Hebert from Narendra Station, and get her command codes to unlock the ship, when you had that very strange Omega mark that Commander Locke and Captain Savick will not explain to the crew what that was. Had Commander Locke not been able to do that, definitely Lieutenant Alder's very creative bypassing of the computer system would have saved the ship. And thanks to that, he's received again, what we're calling a sideways promotion. His rank has stayed the same, but he is no longer the chief science officer. He has been moved to the bridge as the operations manager. And you may notice he is now in operations gold instead of science blue. Look at him. Congratulations, Lieutenant Alder.
So,
Huzzah. There you go. Replacing him in the science department, picked up on the ranger station, is Lieutenant Junior Grade Mabrin Weber. He is a Bajoran who was raised on Earth, and he's only been on the ship for just under a month by this point in the story, or in the mission. So some of you may have met him briefly during these staff meetings, but how well you know him and whatnot, you can role play through in this episode. So welcome aboard, Lieutenant Weber.
Thank you very much.
So we have our crew here. Look at everyone. Look at Shran. Yeah, you were taken out at the end of the last mission, but you were crucial in piloting everyone out of there before the storm. So you were at least there to return the plant at the end of the mission, since they turned out to be somewhat sentient life forms. Okay, so with that setup out of the way, the logs that Drake had recovered, they were partially deciphered as best as they could be in their condition while you were on the ranger station. If you want to check the Discord channel to remind yourself of everything that you know at this point, we have the new channel there. But just to wrap up, the shuttle Wallace belonged to the U.S.S. Darwin. It was an Oberth class science ship that disappeared about 61 years ago. It was one of the first deep space explorations by the Federation into the Shackleton Expanse to just discover what's out there. Shackleton Expanse, as you all have learned the hard way, is a very dangerous part of space. It's very unstable, lots of rifts, lots of subspace anomalies. Not to mention, back at the time, Federation was not on good terms with the Klingons, so there was always threat of Klingon attacks there, because you pretty much have to cross around Klingon space to get into the Shackleton Expanse. Plus there's the Romulans as well as whoever else and whatever else is inside the Expanse. So it shouldn't come as any surprise that a small, very poorly armed Oberth class science vessel did not make it out. But at the same time, Starfleet has no idea what happened to it. Examining the logs show that while everyone on the Wallace seemed to have been rescued safely by the Darwin, the science ship itself continued on its mission of exploration, and they were heading to an area that wasn't known at the time, but is now a very nebulous region, a very expansive, large sector of the Shackleton Expanse. It's known as the Sphere of Zilzik. And again, at the time, Starfleet didn't know about it. But after becoming more friendly with the Klingons and sharing information, what they know of the Expanse, you have records from the Klingon Empire. They have some dealings, not much. They have encountered the people who live in this very loose alliance of planets that is in this region called the Sphere of Zilzik. The seat of the government, the head of the government, is a planet that is only known as, or whatever name the planet may have had in the past, it's called the Holy Seat of the Divine Sphere of Zilzik. And as you can tell by the name, it's a very theocratic society. The whole conglomeration of planets are under their theocracy. So religion plays a huge part, but they don't seem, according to the Klingon records, to be antagonistic. However, since that is where the direction that the Darwin was last headed in 60 years ago, this is your best choice or your best chance to maybe find out if they were the first Federation vessel to contact these people. And if they did, maybe there's records of where they went from that point. So you're resuming your mission of exploration of the Shackleton Expanse. You're going to be scanning, analyzing everything, just charting the whole territory, but you also have the mission from Starfleet to try to find out the final fate of the U.S.S. Darwin. So your first stop on that is to go to the holy seat of Zilzik. Everything good?
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're all good with that. So you've actually arrived there already within the last day or so. And let me update that on our Roll20. So let me get to the planet. Let's see, can you all see this? Okay. Do you all see that?
Yep.
Okay, let's see if I see that. Yes, I do. Okay, good. Just testing this out. Okay, so you're in orbit of the holy seat of Zilzik. As you can tell in the background, there's again the just massive nebula that pretty much colors the sky of the planet, and the whole sector there. It's vast. It pretty much fills the entire sector. So there's a number of planets located throughout this nebula. The nebula itself is, you've learned on your way here, it's extremely dangerous. It's extremely, tempestuous, I think might be the best word there, even for Shackleton standards, with how unstable everything is in the space. And that's sort of how the Zilzik have control over this sector, because they're about the only civilization that has it properly mapped out. So anyone who wants to travel through their space, you pretty much need to have their blessing to do so, or you're likely to get your ship heavily damaged, possibly even destroyed. Now, a couple other things you need to know for this session going in. Your directives. We haven't really used directives very much in the game up until now, but directives are another thing you can use like values in Star Trek Adventures, where you can actually call upon them to use your determination just as you would using your own values. And you could call upon them negatively, positively. You can have it challenged as well. The difference is the directives are your orders given by Starfleet or by your commanders. So if you do it negatively, if you go against it, it's going to also have a negative effect on your reputation. But you can still use them the same way. Prime directive is always in order, so please keep that in mind, the usual prime directive. But the focus for today's episodes for your first contact mission is to establish good relations with the Zilzik, because you are acting as representatives of the Federation. It is a first contact type situation. And also to respect local laws, because anytime you're on a new planet that is not part of the Federation, or even that is, you need to adhere by their rules as well. Okay? Okay. And the last thing I need to give to you before I throw it over to you is a trait for this scene. The sphere of Zilzik, the nebula itself, is extremely disruptive. It's extremely dangerous. There is interfering radiation. So there's a trait of interfering radiation that makes it basically impossible to use Federation-style transporters. You could use it, but any mishap on it would instantly have the transportee killed. So that's why anyone who is basically not using approved technology would not be able, or appropriate technology would not be able to beam in or out safely without a very high chance of dying mid transport. Okay, everyone good? All right, so I'm going to throw it over to the ship right now. Currently, Captain Savik has gone down on a very small away mission with Lieutenant Drake as Chief of Security, because that's just Starfleet regulation. He has to be there just to guard her, even though there's really the government itself is not hostile. So he has to go along. And the newcomer to the staff, Lieutenant Weber, also requested to go down because of his personal interest in the religious aspect of this society. And Captain Savik, of course, agreed that it would be good to collect information because this is, again, a first contact situation. So they've been on the planet for around a day right now. So while they're on the planet, we're going to the deGrasse Tyson itself. You find yourself with some free time. You're just doing your regular duties, but there's no pressing matter currently. So with that said, we're opening this up to any kind of social scene that you would like to do. So if anyone would like one, please just speak up and we will do just that. Just a reminder, the people on the ship, I'm sorry, Alder, Lulk, Thishran, and Thadagia, you're the four still on the ship. I'm sorry about that. Go on.
I suppose like we can start off with me and Commander Lulk's sort of continuing scene from previously. If Commander Lulk's up for it as well.
Yes, of course.
Let me quickly just see. Hold on a moment. Okay, so Bull, I'll just set the scene here quick. Like, start of our episode, camera fades in. We see lush green hills filled with trees, and we can hear the wind like blowing. And we sort of, the camera focuses on Lulk and Alder. We're standing at the edge of a bridge. The camera will sort of move over. We look down and we see this huge chasm below us. So Alder turns to Lulk and says, Commander Lulk, I thought for our first experience of what it is to be human, I'd introduce you to this other pastime of mine called bungee jumping. I was hoping you'd care to join me in jumping off this bridge.
I'm not. I thought that I was beginning to have a grasp of human culture, but now I feel that I'm even more lost than before we entered the holodeck.
Well, I've always respected the Klingons' passion for honor and combat, and I thought I'd show that humans sometimes too, we love to embrace death, although in a temporary way rather than a permanent way. And with that, Alder jumps.
Oh, now, I still don't think I quite follow. We're going to battle as we jump off this bridge. Is that what you intend to?
As I'm falling down, I say, I can't hear you. I'll meet you at the bottom.
And you see him spring down on the end of the cord and like shoot back up and then keep falling and bounding back up again and again until his momentum is finally finished.
I look at my feet and the rope tied to it at this point. Look over the edge. Well, if human can do it with so little fear, I can't see why I can't. Take a step off the edge, but not jumping, just walk off.
Okay, just a casual walk off. Okay, so you step off, and then the gravity in the holodeck catches you and just throws you down. You start falling into a free fall. How do you feel, Commander Locke, as you're plummeting?
I'm stiff as a board. Little to no reaction. Trying trying to hide my body's automatic fearful reaction to the sudden thrust of gravity.
Okay, Alder, you're at the bottom. You're at the bottom of this canyon. You're unhooking your gear, and you see this completely rigid form, like a statue, of Commander Lulk, just bounding up and down and being jerked back and forth by this bungee cord.
I think you'll notice like Aldous at the bottom, and as he's watching Log like bouncing up and down on this bungee cord, like he sort of cracks a wry smile and sort of waits until eventually Commander Log's momentum stops, and as Log sort of getting ready to get unhooked from this cord, I turn to him and I say, Commander Log, I think this is probably one of many rather interesting ideas I might put forth in the future for you. This is only one aspect of being human, so to say. So hopefully you'll be up for some more in the future.
Yes, this was quite thrilling, but we could make it more thrilling if we each tried to cut each other's cord on the way down.
Perhaps next time. But I hope you've learned something interesting about us humans from this experience, at least.
Yes. I do see how this thrill could be fun, even if there is no competition involved. Please, do show me more. I would like to experience more of these death-like thrill-seeking activities.
I can't promise the other activities will be as thrilling and extreme as this, but we can always try in the future.
Okay.
Well, it doesn't have quite the same thrill as battle, but surely that it is a good, safe replacement, I suppose.
I'm just looking forward to the next one with them trying to cut the cords on the way down. I really hope that we get a follow-up on that. Okay.
Perhaps in the blooper reel.
In the blooper reel. Is there anything more you want to do in this scene, or do you want to pass it off to another scene?
I suppose this would be the point in the episode where fade to theme music and the show starts.
Yeah. Okay. Anyone else on the ship want to call for a scene just to show what your characters are doing? Dagia
I would imagine like the Sharon would just be in another holodeck, just practicing martial arts, I guess.
Okay.
Seems to be a loner, so.
He's doing that, not doing that with any crew member?
I don't believe so. I don't believe any crew member would be really willing to be around him enough to oh, Drake would.
Yeah, Drake would. Unfortunately, Drake's not on the ship at the moment, so you lost your sparring partner.
Oh, it's coming.
Let's see, that leaves Dagia. Is there anything you would like to do?
Not particularly. I'm just enjoying a nice cup of Andorian coffee there in the recreation area.
Okay. Dagia, how is your new placement as the acting CMO going?
It's going actually quite well. In fact, I didn't expect everything to be so to transition so smoothly, but getting the feel for it. I'm actually quite excited to take up my duties here.
Perfect. Now I need to know, are you wearing the Dr. Crusher lab coat, or are you going sans lab coat?
Well, since that's an option, I think I might try that out.
Okay. We're going to have to find you a nice lab coat picture for
Yes.
next time. All right. Also, I should ask, has Thadasia made use of the EMH yet? Like, Dr. Arden constantly had the EMH on for as basically his comfort pet while he was in the sick bay, but clearly it's not necessary to have it on. It was just something that he did. Have you tried turning it on yet?
Yes. In fact, I've gone over several, or actually a dozen personality programs I'm trying to integrate into the system to see, what's what the crew would like as far as personality interaction.
Good, good. So that could be something we could follow up with you later. I like that. Okay. Uh, if you're doing that, just relaxing in there. Are you interacting with anyone else? There's my pencil.
Not particularly. I'm
Okay.
just enjoying like my cup of coffee here, but I'm also just kind of looking over the crew here that are currently also, on their recreational time right now. I'm just listening to the conversations, but without, eavesdropping.
Okay. Good. Let's see. That's good. Made my memo there. Last, Commander Loke, is there any scene you want to also do separately?
I'm okay for now.
You're okay? All right. Everyone on the ship is okay then. Let's jump over to the planet. So let's jump over to the planet. So before, let me make sure I open the right window. Uh, right now, Captain Savik is in a basically a private meeting with the leadership of the planet. So while that's happening, Lieutenant Drake, you are outside of the conference room or wherever they're having this meeting. So you're free to roam around the location. You're not restricted. Same with Lieutenant Weber. You are not. Hang on, let me find the map. You are not. Since you're actually there just on your own survey for yourself, as well as for the sake of collecting information for the Federation, learning about this culture, you are also free to explore the grounds of the area where you are. So
What we know about the
sorry, what's that?
what do we know about their religion?
So what you know about the religion is, first of all, one thing is they are extremely religious in the sense that they are uh, very firm believers that there is one specific deity that is responsible for the universe, and they, like in most religions, they feel that they are the chosen people of this deity. They Aside from that, there's not like a whole lot that they'll speak about, other than the fact that everything that they do, going out into space, creating this government, um, adding or annexing more planets into it, is in the vision of of the fact that they were the ones chosen to survive and to lead by this deity. Can you just do? Let's see. Would you like to have an encounter with a maybe one of the members of the government?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we will have. Let's see. We could put it. Let me move that down to there. This might be a good idea. So you'll be near, basically, you'll be in the garden area near um, where the meeting's taking place. So you're nearby, and I just need to hang on, open up a new area. for us to go to. And I'll move your token down there. Okay,
Oh,
down
nice.
down to the bottom of the map, if I can actually figure out how to do that without destroying the whole map. Okay, we'll bring you into the garden area, and you will be meeting with the name is Representative Middleland. Representative Middleland, who has kind of been assigned as the basically the go-between for you, or for the Federation, I should say. So she is kind of taking you on a small tour of the grounds, and happy to answer your questions to the best of her ability. So you should be able to see her on your screen now, if I'm
Yeah.
correct. Okay. So there
Oh,
we
no,
go.
she's gone.
What's that?
Oh, there she is, yeah.
You got it? Okay. All right.
So
Yes.
from what I read about the religion, is it okay to just approach them about it and ask questions, or
Yes,
would it be...
yes, they seem to be they're not offended by people asking questions, but it doesn't mean they're going to answer all of the questions. So, I'm sorry, I'm opening the wrong window here. So, Representative Middleland is taking you again through the gardens just outside this administrative area. Again, where Captain Savick is having her meeting. Drake is somewhere around, and she's kindly explaining things to you, and also asking you questions of her own. And she looks at you and she says, I'm very pleased to know that you're so interested in our beliefs. We don't get very many visitors that we have not had a lot of contact with previously, and many of them don't bother to ask questions. So I find this very refreshing to know that you have an interest. Is there anything else you would like to know?
Yes, actually, looking at this beautiful garden, I was wondering if it also in some way represents your way of thinking, your way of your belief, the way it's structured. Does it symbolize anything, or...
Oh, yes, yes, of course. For the most part, everything in our society is a reflection of our belief. We feel that we have been blessed with the opportunity to become the leaders of the galaxy, thanks to the divine being. So we use that in the past to build upon our foundations. That is why we, as you can see here, we have our city raised up off the foundations, and we keep building higher and higher, closer to the heavens where the divine one is from. Even over there, you see the spherical statue that is a representative of the great sphere of Zilzik itself. We try to remind ourselves of everything that is important to us in all that we do.
And if I can be so direct, the seer, is it an actual person? Is it an office, or...
Oh, the leader of our world, or of our worlds, our government, is actually the Prime Scholar. So the name is the Prime Scholar. It's actually Prime Scholar Hisan Sosan, but unfortunately, he is not with us currently. Your captain right now is currently in a meeting with the first honored scholar, Tikris Ani. He speaks for the Prime Scholar in his absence. And I'll just say that just when she's talking about that, there's a hint of regret on her face that's very easy to pick up.
Yeah.
If I may, it's lieutenant, correct? Is that your position on your
Yes.
vessel? If I may, Lieutenant, I believe earlier you mentioned that you have some sort of connection with your own people's religion, or am I mistaken?
Sort of. It's a bit of a complicated issue. I was actually not raised by my own people,
Oh,
and
really?
I haven't had too much interaction with my own people. I was raised on Earth and in pretty agnostic, atheistic surroundings. So I do practice my religion, but more from a scientific standpoint, if that makes sense.
Interesting.
I believe that there's some wisdom in every religion that finds a way to express itself in rituals and meditation and prayers. But I have to say, and don't take that as an insult, I don't really believe in anything supernatural that cannot be explained by science. But totally. Oh, was it okay? Do I know from what I read about them? Is it okay to be so direct, or is it? I'm asking as a player.
You know that saying something like that would not be offensive, but like
Okay.
directly insulting the religion, or that would probably be crossing the line.
Yeah.
While you're speaking, when you're mentioning about your agnosticism and seeing things from a scientific point of view, she starts to laugh a little and covers her mouth and looks at you and says, "Well, to be perfectly honest, and perhaps I'm saying too much here, but in recent generations, there has actually been a bit of a movement towards the secular, even on our world. It's causing a lot of very, I would say, animated debate in our society. Um, Actually, the prime scholar himself is very open to hearing the opinions of the secular movement, and that has won him a lot of support from the from those classes. And I was appointed by Prime Scholar Sosan, so I've heard a number of very convincing arguments to the contrary of a purely theocratic or theological way of seeing things. So it doesn't come as too much of a shock to me that you would hold similar feelings.
Well, it must be pretty big shock in a society that's so deeply rooted on religion, a new movement like that.
Yes, yes, and it did not gain traction very much until Prime Scholar Sosan came into power. He has been the first that has been willing to listen to all of our people, not just the clergy or the gentos class. He will listen to everyone's beliefs and ideas. Um, Unfortunately, the first scholar is a bit more of a traditionalist. However, his power is quite limited for now. Um, if he becomes the prime scholar next, I think we might go back to a bit more of our traditional way of life. But for now, we're beginning to see a lot of very interesting ideas from our people.
I see. Oh, that's really interesting. Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. How about please follow me over here? I would like to show you our system of canals that we have constructed. And
Oh,
she
yes.
she leads you off, and the two of you go
Mhm.
walking over to the railing. And we'll fade the
Oh,
scene.
sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
Not as a asking as a player. The
Please.
prime scholar, has he been missing, or is it just I didn't
Uh,
write it down?
she didn't specify. She just said
Okay.
that he was gone, basically. But that is something that you could try to bring up in the next conversation, or with
Mhm.
another anyone else you're interacting with. Switching over to Lieutenant Drake. Oh, one more thing, another housekeeping thing I forgot to say in the beginning because I just talked way too long at the beginning. Anyhow, since there's 6 players here today, you're starting with 12 threat, and of course zero momentum until you build it up. So just for anyone who's keeping track of threat or momentum, if anyone actually wants to do that on the Discord as well, in the game session channel, if anyone knows the commands for adding and subtracting threat and momentum, you can do that to help everyone. But if not, just for your own personal note, starting the game 12 threat, 0 momentum. Okay? Okay, apologies, Lieutenant Drake. Is there anything you would like to do, sir?
I'd be mostly just walking around the area, but not really traveling too far from the meeting point.
Okay.
Although they seem very friendly, who knows? My job's to protect the captain.
That's true. All right. Well, then we'll keep you kind of down. We'll keep you on the close-up map. Yeah. We'll keep you on instead of the pull out of the city there. So the captain's probably in that administrative building around there, while Lieutenant Weber and Representative Middelan is examining the gardens across the way. Is there anything you would like to specifically do while you're patrolling there, or shall we just move on?
I wouldn't mind exploring rather than main areas such as the garden, try and taking little detours down side streets, because that's where you tend to find the more interesting stuff.
Okay. Would you like to do that now, or wait until after the meeting's done?
It would be now, but later I'd be escorting the captain, so it would be now.
Okay. So you'll go down some side streets and you see there's lots of shops there open. There's museums. There's libraries. It's a very clean, advanced, and very sophisticated looking society. You notice that everyone dresses relatively similar, different colors of robes, but people are mostly dressed in very lavish and ornate robes. They're very flashy. They're not a very simple dress people. Everyone looks extremely wealthy, well-to-do that you see, but you do eventually, as you take a couple more side streets, go down, you start seeing some people milling about, and it catches your attention. They're in a lot more plain clothing, not dirty, not frayed, but definitely does not look anywhere near as ostentatious as the majority of people. They're not being shunned, they're not being like ignored in that, but people, they seem to be sticking to their own. The plainly dressed people are more or less interacting with only other plainly dressed people, while the more innate ones are interacting with each other as well. That's something you clearly pick up with your security knowledge there.
Lovely. That's the sort of stuff I was after.
Okay. All right, then let's just we'll just jump ahead. Because I imagine you keep coming back and forth just to make sure the meeting's not finished. But yeah, you don't see anything out of the ordinary. You don't see anything strange there. So once you get that information, you pretty much go back to where you were and wait for Captain Savek to come out. And look at that. She actually did. There she is. So Captain Savek comes out and she sees you standing watch there. You're the only member of the crew actually that has that is armed, because there's really no reason for anyone to bring weapons onto this planet except for you being her bodyguard. And they prefer it that way, as you'll see here when you're around here, only the guards also carry weapons. Nobody else seems to be armed in any way. But Captain Savek comes out, and she comes walking on her cane, going down the steps. She has her visor vision just locked onto you, Lieutenant Drake, and in her very stoic Vulcan expression, she slowly limps her way over to you. Lieutenant Drake, I hope I did not keep you waiting for too long.
Not at all, ma'am. I enjoyed a good, nice scenic walk around the area.
Very good. Have you noticed anything of import?
Nothing of import, I would say. The people seem to be dressing very flamboyant. However, I did notice potentially a different class wearing much plainer clothes that seems to keep to themselves, but nothing of security import, I would say.
Yes, it appears this world is a very caste-based system. There is their lower class I picked up, as well as the aristocracy, and the ruling is the clergy caste, which comes as no surprise.
The theocratic society, that would make sense.
Indeed. I had a very, very encouraging meeting with the first scholar, Ani. He did inform me that they have found records in their libraries of a visit of a Federation vessel 61 years ago, or 61 years by Federation standards. And it appears that it may very well be the U.S.S. Darwin. He is going to have some of his administrators retrieve the documents that we need, and perhaps we will find where they went from this point forward.
Lovely. I'm glad we managed to find some hints as to where the Darwin has gone.
Indeed. It would appear that it was a lucky windfall, as some would say, that we came across this planet. The first scholar is going to show us around in the gardens across the way. I believe our new science officer, Lieutenant Weber, is already there.
Indeed he is, ma'am. He seems to be quite interested in the local religion.
Excellent. I look forward to reading his report.
Myself included.
Okay, shall we go across and wait for the first scholar to arrive?
Right this way, ma'am. And I'll start to lead towards where Weber went.
Okay, so we'll have Lieutenant Weber and the representative there. We'll have Drake and the captain there. Eventually, you are going to be met by if I could find the guy. There we go.
He's big.
He is a very tall man. Yeah, he's a very tall man. This is First Scholar Ani, and he shows up with his security. So let's see how tall this guy is. Oh, he's a big one. Look at this guy.
Security for you.
And security is a big guy. So the First Scholar, he's leading the captain in the meeting, while his security kind of trails off to the back. Where would you like to be, Drake? You can position yourself appropriately.
2 steps to the behind the captain.
2 steps behind the captain.
Keep my eye out.
Okay. So they're walking their way through the garden. Again, the First Scholar, he's explaining things in a very, very controlled mannerisms as he's walking through, explaining about the society, talking about like what the kind of interactions they have with outside governments, and always constantly bringing it back to the religion and how important that is. Drake, can you give us our first roll here, if you wouldn't mind? Since you are, if I could find your character sheet. So I want you, if you don't mind, to do a insight and security.
Chose my worst attribute.
Perfect.
Complication range?
Just 1. So you're going to be rolling 2 as usual, 2 dice as usual, unless you're spending anything else, which I doubt. It's difficulty 0. It's a difficulty 0 one. So you're just glancing around, taking it all in.
1-1.
1-1. Look at that. So that is 2. That is 2 successes on the 0 task, which means you gain. I'm not going to do my magic trick today. You gain 2 points of momentum. What you see, just glance around again. You notice again there are again the same ornately dressed people milling about, doing their own thing. There's some of the more plainly dressed people milling about. Uh, there's again nothing that's really standing out. There's small groups here and there. There's nothing really suspicious immediately going on. The only two things that kind of stand out for you as you're scanning around is you see one particular group of the plainly robed people. They're all in identical kind of forest green type robes that stand out. It's usually the ones that are all the different groups you see. Everyone's kind of wearing a different robe. Everyone's wearing their own fashion style. Even the plain ones, as although they do look similar, you don't really see too many that are just dressed in the exact same color as each other. So this looks like it's its own unique group for some specific reason. And the second thing that you notice just on your scan is that the first honored scholar's security detail, not the prime scholar, it's the first scholar, his security detail is really looking around like a hawk, far more than you would expect in a very calm, casual situation like this, but he seems to be on high alert.
Okay, then seeing as we would be walking relatively close together, I would lean over and say, you seem more nervous than I am, and I'm the one on a foreign planet.
He gives you a side glance. Said, "Do my job." He doesn't even bother looking at you after that.
Okay. I seem to notice you all, the planet's fashion seems to be quite a colourful robe, quite flamboyant in my opinion. But everyone seems to be unique. I notice there's a group of green plainly dressed people. Is there some sort of group, sports team?
He looks as well. We'll just have you all keep walking a little bit on. We'll say that if you can see on the map, we'll say that you see the green people kind of pinging around here, kind of down here, probably just slightly off screen from where we are, like where there's some buildings in that nearby, but still part of the open garden there. You point that out to him, and he keeps his eye on the group for a couple more steps as you're walking, and then he just suddenly reaches his arm out, grabs the first honored scholar, and shoves him down to the ground while drawing his weapon with his other hand, and he yells out, "Ambush!" And he opens fire.
Okay, at which point I'm gonna use one of my talents of close protection and hunker down to try and get the captain, down as well.
Okay, so we're going to go into a combat round here as this gun gets drawn. Now, usually the first side to act is usually going to be the player's side. So we'll say that, David, you want to defend the captain, right?
Yeah, straight
as
up.
the player thing. So for your hunker down, that's when you're rolling cover dice. So you're basically going to use that when you're under attack. So if using cover dice, you add extra resistance. So if they start firing at you, your cover is going to help them. So you're basically covering the captain now. What action would you like to take?
Although it might be quite a bad thing to do religion-wise, I'm gonna try and get her behind the big sphere.
Okay, so you grab her. That'll be like a movement action. So you take her behind the sphere. Can you move both of you on there?
No.
Nope.
How the hell do you click someone?
I just dragged them, so I'll drag you on there. There we go. Okay, doing that. So you're basically taking, for your action, you're dragging her to the opposite side of the sphere. That would probably be your move action. I would say would take as a move action. I believe you could do that as an action. Who cares? We're going to say it's your action. Are you going to draw your weapon or no?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Okay, so that would be your incidental. You'll do that. All right, so then we'll go to the NPC side, and that'll be the security. The security guy is going to be firing at those green robe people that you pointed out. And I'm using my dice because, like I say, every game, damn it, I bought them. I'm using them. Okay. And let's see here. He needs a 2. Sadly, no, he only scored 1 success. It's a 2 success on that. So his disruptor, phaser, whatever the weapon they use on the Zilzik plant kind of goes astray. It hits one of the bushes and sparks and catches fire like you see in the Star Trek episode. Switching back to the PC side, Julian, your character, Lieutenant Weber, is also nearby. Not so close maybe as it looks on the only image I sourced for this episode, but you're definitely close enough to see and hear phaser fire happening and see this commotion going on. So you would be next in acting order since David took the initiative.
Can I already see them running, or
you see? Yeah, when you turn to look, you see Lieutenant Drake dragging the limping captain behind him, pushing her to a safe cover behind the spherical statue. David, I gotta say again, your choice of backgrounds are just spot on here. This is just beautiful. like how you do this every episode, I'm just blown away by. But anyhow, you see him drag her behind that thing that is there, and he has his phaser drawn, but he's pretty much just providing cover for her. You yourself, you're unarmed, and you're there with Representative Middleland, who just looks completely shocked and horrified at what's happening right now. You see a member of the Zilzik race firing off somewhere into the crowd, but it hit something and exploded. It didn't hit a person.
Mm-hmm. So are we far away enough to not be in danger, or should we also run for cover?
Right now, it doesn't look like you're close enough to be in danger, but you also don't know the extent of the situation. The gunfire or the blaster fire is going away from you, since you're kind of at the railing looking over at the vast city and canals below. So it doesn't look like the commotion is from your side, but there's, again, no telling. When it's a firefight, no telling what's going to happen.
Yeah, I guess I'll do some kind of a slow run towards the others.
Okay.
And I'll ask a representative. I'll just ask her what's happening. What's this?
Okay. So you start running off, and the representative starts hesitantly jogging along behind you, almost as if she's hypnotized and she doesn't really know. She's like, I don't know. It could be the terrorists.
Terrorists?
The one of the more extreme secular factions in trying to disrupt the society.
Yeah, okay, I'll keep running.
Okay. Switching back now, it's the green cloak side. So they are returning fire. At least one of them is returning fire at the security. And no, complete miss. So as the security guy is ducking down, this thick blue beam shoots way over his head. It goes back to you, David.
Well, I'm going to quote the Prime Directive here, as this isn't really my fight, so I'm mostly just going to keep the commander safe. I'm not sure what I can actually do, except just hunker down and, well, keep an eye out to see where all the green people are.
Okay. You'll just basically keep her under protection, right?
Mm.
Okay, now the security guard is firing again. And yeah, this time he scores a hit. You see his bolt from his phase pistol just slam into one of the green cloaks, lifting them up off their feet. They fall down in the heap next to their friends. Their friends are ducked down and just firing wildly in return. So Julian, while you're running there, we'll say before you get there, since you're still going to be running, I'm just going to have them fire back one more time. So, yeah, they miss again when they're firing at the security guard. David, we'll just say without rolling what you're looking at right now. No, never mind. Give me a roll, and Julian, I want you to give me a roll also. Both of you, insight and security.
Same rules again?
Same. 2 dice unless you're spending something extra, and complication range of 1.
I got a 1.
Okay. Oh, this time I forgot to tell you, this time the difficulty is 1 since you're in a different situation. You're not just casually looking around, so you succeeded, David. Julian, do you know how to access the character sheet there on Roll20? Oh, there we go.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, okay. I see. You got a 5 and 17. Again, later we'll show you how to do it on the character sheet itself, so you don't have to roll the dice, where you could just get, like, it'll automatically tell you the thing. So don't worry about that this time. And I grabbed the wrong character sheet. Let's see. You are here. So that is a insight and security. That's a 12. So that's 1 success for you too. So both of you are okay. So David, we'll start with you with what you see. What you see as you're looking out, your focus on the attackers, right? Seeing what they're doing, right? You see they're kind of ducking down, doing their own thing. They're firing back, but they aren't really taking aim very much. They're firing a little bit wildly. One of the green cloak members is running to tend to the person who was shot, and sort of ignoring the fire coming his way. You see him, he's like clearly trying to help the person who's just been shot down. But right now they're only firing wildly in the direction that the security guard is firing. They're not actually looking like they're aiming to hit anything. And
okay.
Julian, while you're running there, from your position, from your perspective, you notice something different. You notice something a little bit extra. There is an additional green cloaked member. This guy is actually not like the icons I've been dragging onto Roll20. He's actually a bit taller than everyone else. He seems noticeably taller, and his green cloak doesn't quite fit him as properly as maybe the ones that David has been looking. But you see him charging in at a completely different angle, and he's heading straight towards the statue where Lieutenant Drake and Captain Savek is.
And we are there by now too, right?
You're almost there. You're almost there. This is as you're running in that direction, you're seeing that this guy is coming from a side angle towards the others.
Okay, so we're not there yet.
Yes.
Would Lieutenant Drake hear me when I shout?
If you shout, he should be able to hear you, yes?
Okay. Lieutenant Drake, over there.
To which I would turn around to see what they was shouting about, sorry.
Okay, let's get this guy.
It's pretty.
Isn't he though? Okay, this guy, he's coming in again from a completely different angle. While you have the shooters, the terrorists over here. This guy's coming almost from like a flanking angle and running your way. You hear the message from Lieutenant Weber as he's running towards you, but you turn in time, and we are going to. Oh, I apologize for it. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to interrupt the scene with 6 threat spending here. And you turn to look and you see this very massive looking guy in an ill-fitting but equally green robe come running in, and he charges straight for you. You turn to point your weapon at him, but he's just coming straight for you, Drake. And he grabs you as soon as he gets there and crashes through the spherical statue behind you and just shattering the whole thing and just knocking you down onto the ground. Simultaneously at the other end, you see Julian also, so Lieutenant Weber, you also see this crash go through. The far off people in the green cloaks, there's this weird pulse of green energy surrounding them, and then they vanish, they disappear. So it's clearly a type of transporter, but it's a very different type than what you're experienced with in the Federation. But they all disappear. By the time you get to where Drake and this huge monster of a guy are wrestling around, are the security guard, the security detail of the first scholar comes jogging over, and you see him holding his gun and he's making adjustments, and he runs right up, puts the blaster on the back of this guy's neck, fires, and Drake, you just see the life leave his eyes, and he just topples on top of you.
Well, that reaction's probably what Drake's gonna have, of just what the hell just happened.
I'm
trying to get this massive Hulk off of me.
You're trying to push him up. Julian, are you going to help up Drake or help up the captain?
Yeah.
Captain got knocked down too.
Yeah, I think I'll have the captain first.
Okay, so he's helping the captain up. Drake, you're in the rubble there. By now, you're hearing everyone in the garden just screaming in pure horror at what's going on. It just sounds like more panic now than when the gunfire was going off. And there's more security guards come running in, and they help push the brute-looking guy off of you, his dead body off of you, and you reach your hand out for help, and they all draw their weapons on you, Drake, and say, "You're under arrest." And that's where we're going to have the credits start here. That's where we're going to have the credits start finally here. That's what the six threat spend was to do. Okay. So, set up. Drake is now under arrest. So, let's jump back to the deGrasse Tyson. deGrasse Tyson. You remember still awake there? I apologize. It was a lengthy scene. We good?
Bull,
yeah,
as
I'm
previously
sorry.
mentioned,
Some toes.
I might have to hop off from now, actually. So
Oh, from
only-
now. Oh, I thought you had.
yeah.
I thought you had until the break. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. If you gotta go now, that's okay. This, of course, there's going to be a lot of setting up going on. Probably at the rate we're going, we're not going to get to the meat of everything until the next session 2. So yeah, at least you saw the hook, and you'll know what's going on, right?
Okay, yeah, I'll catch the video. You could just pop me a link once it's uploaded, then I'll catch myself up for that one then.
Will do. Yeah. Thanks a
Okay.
lot, Terry. Be safe. Yeah. We'll see you soon. Okay.
Sure. Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Enjoy. See you next time.
See you later.
Okay.
Good to see you,
Yeah.
buddy.
All right. Just going back again onto the ship, Lieutenant or Commander Locke. I'm sorry. You're taking off your harnesses as you're walking down the hall. Your harness from the bungee jumping and all that. You're getting back down into everything. When you get a message that there is an important transmission coming in from the surface of the planet from Captain Savik.
I will accept it immediately.
Okay. Commander, I'm going to need you to pull together a meeting of the senior staff. There's been an incident down below.
while I can't say that I'm terribly surprised, I
It does seem to
am
happen
slightly
frequently. I will give you that.
I will say that I am not happy to hear that. I hope you are welcome, Captain.
I'm just fine, Commander. Thank you for your concern. Unfortunately, Lieutenant Drake has been placed under arrest.
All right. Knew it was just a matter of time. I will gather the senior staff and contact you again as soon as we are ready.
Okay. Now we'll go to a scene in the conference room. How's that? So we'll do that. For now, the captain has come back to the ship with the Lieutenant Weber, so that everyone could be part of this. So she brought her shuttle back up, but now there's going to be a little bit of a meeting. Okay, let's see here. Drake is definitely not part of this meeting, I can tell you that. Let's see. And over there. And do we have everyone? And yeah, we'll say Alder is also there too. Who am I missing? Who did I not grab? Thagagia's there. Alder's there. Locke's there. Who the heck did I not grab on here? Something's not right. Oh, well, yeah, looks good. No, that's right. Velik is definitely not with us.
Drake, it even looks like you went and put a prison uniform on.
He was prepared. He was so prepared for this.
Wait. I'm not even on that screen yet because I'm setting up the
I've
roll
been
20.
dying. I can't. I was quit breathing.
Hang on a second. Oh, I gotta see this now. I gotta see this. Oh man, how are you ready with all this stuff? That is good. I'm in awe. Drake, you're going to get double experience points this time. Since, there's no experience points in this game. No, triple it. Just for you. Okay. All right, so you're in the conference room. I think everyone can see the conference room now. And the captain is filling you in, and she lets you know that what has happened. Drake has been arrested instantly, and she found out later from speaking with the first scholar, Ani, that it was because of the destroyed statue that is seen as an act of blasphemy, and it doesn't matter intent on their world. Any sort of defacing anything that is regarded as sacred is an automatic, serious infraction. So Drake was arrested for that. It's called an offense against the sacred, and she explains to you, unfortunately, I am no longer able to communicate directly with First Scholar Ani, as it is not sightly for him, they say, to be associated with people who are associates of anyone convicted of a crime against the sacred. We are now going through Representative Middelan to get our information. According to her, this is a corporal punishment. He is to be executed. However, one perhaps bit of good news is that due to his status as a VIP, being from off-world and a different culture that is unknown to their ways and their religion, he is being given a life incarceration of solitary confinement.
Can't we just offer to repair their statue? Pay for it?
Apparently, the repairs or any kind of reparation is not as important as the act of defiling something sacred. So even if we were to make such a gesture, it will not erase the crime that has taken place.
I'm certain that Lieutenant Drake wouldn't do this on purpose. It certainly was an accident. They don't understand this.
Again, they say intent is not the issue, and indeed it was not Lieutenant Drake who broke it. It was the surprise attack from one of these terrorists.
Don't these people have some type of surveillance footage? We can show them this?
We can petition them to see if they have any kind of surveillance and perhaps allow us to examine said information.
I'm going to probably imagine that they're not going to have this.
I will bring that up immediately, as I will be heading back down to the surface as soon as this is done to have a further meeting with Representative Middleland. She said there is a possibility she might be able to provide some assistance, but it is unknown to what degree at this point.
She's unwilling to come up here, I guess.
I will ask her the next time I go down.
Shall we make preparations for a rescue operation?
That would probably violate the Prom Directive, because we are probably going to have to observe their laws.
Indeed, this would not be the first time a Federation officer has been arrested or faced the consequences of violating local laws.
What was
Be
the
a shame.
outcome?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
What was the outcome of that particular incident?
Oh, there were quite a number of incidents, and many of them had been seen to through their completion. However, this is the first time with this world, so it is unclear exactly what sort of leeway we have dealing with this government. And as I might remind you, it is also a first contact situation, so it is slightly more important for us to maintain good reputation with them, particularly because they are also in control of this entire sector.
Like he had to throw himself into a sphere, a holy sphere, huh? Couldn't have just stepped on a flower bed, I guess.
If I understand correctly, Captain, both you and Lieutenant Drake's life were put in danger through this conflict that happened.
Indeed.
Can we use that as leverage against them? The fact that we were their VIP guests and they allowed both you and Lieutenant Drake to have their lives put in jeopardy.
I shall raise that concern with them as soon as I meet with the representative. However, from what I saw, it didn't seem like that is going to make much of a difference. I believe the only sort of reprieve that our VIP status has earned us is not an immediate execution of the lieutenant.
Did the representative tell you anything else about the attackers? Because from what you told me, I think the whole purpose of the attack was to destroy that statue.
No, she did not mention what their purpose may have been. Perhaps we will discover that if we do find any sort of surveillance, as Lieutenant Tashran has suggested.
So, it's my understanding we've had issues with the transporter.
Not issues to the degree, but however, the radiation in this sector would be impossible to transport with any guarantee of safety.
Sounds like a wonderful job for our new science officer.
Yes, perhaps, Lieutenant Weber, you could maybe start doing some scans and seeing if there may be a way to break through this radiation.
Yeah.
Should perhaps we need to do any emergency transport at some time in our future.
Yes, ma'am.
What was
If
the
I may
significance?
also inquire, Captain, what is the intended method of execution?
Well, again, I don't know what their intended method is, but it seems that due to his VIP status, he will just live out the remainder of his years in solitary confinement. So,
Not exactly horrible.
well, I do not know what their solitary confinement is like, but at least we know he is not being tortured.
From my understanding, the human mind cannot withstand solitary confinement for more than short periods of time. So that sounds to be the intended method of execution. Death by insanity.
Yes, humans are indeed a frail species, which she feels very comfortable to say because Drake is now not in the room. And he's the only human crew member here. And oh no, wait, Alder is still there, but he's silent. But Alder kind of thinks he's a computer, so he kind of nods in agreement. We'll say. Yeah.
Perhaps death by transporter malfunction is the preferred method to go.
Drake is sitting there like, okay, I could get out of this. What's happening? Like, and then they come in like, you know what? Actually, this does go against our charter. We could let him go, and they open it up to this steaming pile of an accidentally fried transporter guy inside there. Just like shriek of horror, and then like created by Gene Roddenberry appears on screen, and the episode's done. Okay. Yes, well, perhaps we could leave that idea for the future, Commander. For now, let's see if there's maybe a way to extract our lieutenant safely and without violating their laws.
We're gonna have to really talk through this, Captain. Taking him like that will be a direct violation of the Prime Directive, so I would prefer to do this diplomatically.
Indeed. And I agree with you, Lieutenant. I don't think that we are in a position to create enemies. What we may do if we attempt to use a transporter is kill our lieutenant outright and then send their entire military after us before we can leave orbit. Is there anything else before I head back down?
Don't make preparations.
I just shake my head.
Okay. All right, I will be bringing a secondary security detachment, and we will be making sure to steer clear of any sacred or holy artifacts while we are planetside. I will let you know as soon as I discover what I can from Representative Middleland. Until then, as usual, Commander, you have the bridge. You're in command up here, and I will let you know what's happening from planetside.
Understood, Captain.
Okay, and the captain heads out. She goes back to the planet side. Now, there's going to be a little bit of time as she is meeting with Representative Middleland. Is there anyone who wants to potentially go down and be part of the meeting? Probably Commander Lulk. I would say you can't do so because you have to be in command of the ship. They can't have both the commanding officer and the executive officer off the ship at the same time by most regulations. But Fishran, you would like to pilot her shuttle down?
Absolutely.
I saw your hand going up. Okay.
No, that's okay. I've got a cardboard cutout I can leave on the bridge.
Yeah. They're like, Commander, we need orders now. You're just standing there in your pose with your bat'leth on there. Commander, please! Lieutenant Weber, you're going to start analyzing the nebula, correct? To see if there's a way to break through the interference, right?
Yeah, but didn't we decide that we couldn't beam him out there anyway, so...
Couldn't, but again, it might be something to have in the back pocket, right?
Yeah, okay.
It's your choice, but something to do that. Thedagio, is there anything you want to do in this moment while there's going to be a lull in this?
Perhaps I want to do some more in-depth research on their customs, laws, something that we might have missed, something that could play into it that I can relay back to the
Good.
landing party.
Okay. Thedagia. Research customs.
Yes.
I could probably help with that, with
Okay.
my mythology and archaeology focuses.
So let's see. Waiver assist Thedagia and also analyze radiation. Okay. Commander Locke, is there anything you would like to take part in?
This was not our first contact with you said this is our first contact, or just the Darwin was the first contact?
The Darwin clearly arrived at the planet 60 years ago, but they never managed to transmit this fact to the Federation. So
Okay.
whatever contact they had is kind of lost in time, and in fact so much that like the planet didn't recognize a Federation vessel there. They had to find it in their documents that yes, they did meet someone else from Starfleet 60 years ago.
All right. So we don't have any information.
The only
about them.
information you have is from Klingon records.
From Klingon records.
Klingon
right,
records,
'cause they, right.
Yeah.
Well, I guess then I will start going through that to see if I can find anything of relevance.
Okay. So that would be along the lines of what Thedagia also wants to do. So I mean, all three of you could be researching different aspects of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's good. All right, so we'll do that right now. Right now, while
Oh, sorry.
yes,
I think I've told everyone about the stuff that the representative told me, right? About the secular movement and the actual prime scholar being missing or not having been seen in a while.
we'll say yeah. You probably mentioned that to everyone. So everyone act on that knowledge that you've gone words that there is a new secular movement that is picking up steam because of the new prime scholar who is willing to listen to them. The prime scholar who he himself is not available, possibly missing. Details unclear on that. And the representative referred to the attack as possibly the terrorists. Okay? So everyone act with that knowledge in mind that you got from the lieutenant. Okay? All right. So we'll stay on the ship itself for now. Let's get the roll here to what you people are researching. So again, Thedagia, this was your idea, correct? You want to start researching that, and Lieutenant Weber and Commander Locke are all doing your own thing. So, is there any specific aspects you're wanting to research that may be different from each other? Like Thedagia, what do you want to look in the files?
Any specific instances, actually in reference to the past incidents with our Federation.
Okay, that document still don't have yet. They were going to transfer all that information to you, but that was before Drake got arrested. So you don't have that information yet.
Is there any information as far as any alternatives instead of execution or imprisonment, that there was another
Okay, we'll say
result or outcome?
we'll say just we'll let you research just the Klingon reports of what they had, see if they fell into the same trap. Okay, to see if there's anything about alternatives. Okay, Commander Locke, is there something different you would like to be researching in that information?
Yeah, I'm gonna specifically look for any discrepancies or things that might stand out to me as being odd or unique with the Klingons' interactions with them.
Okay.
And also, I'm going to send a message to my uh, contact or my specifically my mother back home
Mm-hmm.
to see what information she has from the Klingon side of things from their interactions, to see if there's something that Starfleet records don't have, but perhaps the Klingon records do.
Okay. So you'll send that message out there to get that. Good. And Lieutenant Weber, is there something different you want to be researching?
Yeah, I have this galactic history focus, so I might look at similar cases, like Wesley
Good.
Crusher falling on flowers, and how they got out of those situations.
Yeah. Okay. Then you'll be researching that. So let's have everyone do your roles, and then we'll get back to it after we resolve what's happening on the planet. So let's see here. We'll start with you, Julian, since you're the last one speaking. That's going to be since you're researching the details and of the galactic history of other cases, similar cases, right? That would
Mhm.
probably be a security role, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
And I would say, since it's not going to be hard to find records of similar cases in the database, since you're talking about Federation, it's not going to be a matter of sifting through documents. It's going to be a matter of trying to apply what you find, what you discover, to how it might help. So give me reason security. So if
Okay.
you, I don't know. Hang on a second. Let's see. Can I share? Do you know how to do the character sheet? If you open up your character sheet, you could just do really. I mean, it's also easy to just do the D20 roll. But
Yeah, I have it all on my small iPad screen.
yeah, it's hard to
Next time
do.
I my
Okay.
notebook.
Yeah, if you can only do the D20s in that, that's okay. We could just reference what it is. There we go. A 4
Yeah.
and a 19.
Focus on galactic history, but
Yes. So I forgot to say this is a difficulty 1. So looking at that, I believe you already got 1 success anyhow, so that's good.
yeah.
Yeah. So you got 1 success, so you passed that. So you'll be finding similar cases and how it was resolved. So let's see. Passed. Okay, we'll get to you again after the research is done. Next, let's go Commander Locke. Commander Locke, you're the next sheet on my list. You're just going to be communicating and looking at the... You'll need to make a roll for the communication, but you're going to have to wait for the reply. But same thing for you, except this is going to be maybe control and... What would you say? I would say control and security, probably, because you're basically just sifting document by document, reading it very, what's the word, very steadily to try to find anything that comes into play, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or insight would work too. It's your choice which you would.
Yeah, I was thinking insight.
Security or con either, because con is a lot of protocol stuff too, but mostly starship based. But either way, it's 4 for you. So
Yeah.
okay.
And then it's a complication 1.
Complication 1, yeah. This is also
Roll.
this is going to also be difficulty 1.
Okay.
And there you. Did you do that right? Only 1 die came up.
It was complication 1, task roll 1, right?
Task is always 2 unless you're assisting.
2.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. That's 1 extra, so you got 3 in the momentum pool right now. Technically, you should only have 2, but I didn't burn the scene change momentum because I was being a sneaky Pete by using the 6 threat to do a reversal instead. So I'm not going to punish you by me ending the scene. Okay. And Thadagia, can you make your roll too before we go to the planet?
Is that going to be control and security?
I would think so. Again, you're trying to find what was again the customs, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so I would say that is a control, and because you're looking at from a security standpoint too, anything that might help you. So control and security, again, you're just going file by file what little information you have. So that is again difficulty 1. Okay, and that's all you need. You passed. All right. So all of you have passed in your research. So we'll get back to anything that you get up from that. But at least you got a gain of 1 momentum in that. We'll get to the end of your research after the planet scene. Okay?
Mhm.
All right. So let's jump down right quick. Let me take 2 to the planet. I'll do, let's see, move these guys off of here. Don't really need to. Here we go. Oh, I did it with the thing, so you can't see what I'm talking about. All right. So let's see. Get rid of this guy. He is not here anymore, so we'll just put him up there. Representative is going to be here. Ivan's gone. She's there. He's definitely gone. He's gone. And Thashran came down with her. So you'll be at the administrative building for this. Okay, so Thashran, you are part of the escort down at the captain, meeting with Representative Middeland. And again, she explains to you the situation where just in their culture, in their society, that again, it's the intent doesn't matter. The intent is secondary. The fact that something bad has happened, something blasphemous has happened, takes precedent over it all. And there are many cases in their own history that she rattles off to you of people who have been well-meaning, respected members of society, but just had a very unfortunate accident and caused damage that, again, is an offense against the sacred, and they were immediately executed within the hour for that offense. So it's not something that is just being put onto Lieutenant Drake as punishment. It's also like something that is clearly part of their culture. But she does say, while you're talking, you're there at the negotiating table, Thishran, listening to this, said, however, there is a bit of a precedent here for what's happening. Right now, our society is kind of at a very interesting crossroads, Captain. The secular movement and the secularists, some would call them terrorists, all of them, not just those who may have caused disruptions like we've seen today, but they are having their voices heard more under the leadership of Prime Scholar Sasan. Normally we would not be able to entertain anything of the sort, but again, this is unofficial, so please keep this to yourself. Do not announce this, especially to my own people. Prime Scholar, or apologies, First Honored Scholar Ani, he said that there may be a way to satisfy the need for punishment and allow you to reclaim your crew member unharmed. And it would be more of a favor for the government of the Holy Seat than an actual official request by the government. Perhaps I may be saying too much and saying favor for first scholar Ani.
What sort of favor are we talking about?
Well, he acknowledges that, yes, your crew member was not at fault for this. He does acknowledge that. And he is particularly, perhaps more so than the others in the clergy, perturbed by the existence of the secularists. He has authorized me to inform you that were you able to bring in those responsible in this ambush, he might be able to do a swap of sorts, taking the terrorists who are the true reason behind this incident, and before too much word spreads of this incident, of your crew member being involved, returning him to you.
Forgive me for being forward. He doesn't exactly sound like a man of faith in your belief system then.
I think, and this is just speaking from my own opinion of being part of Sosan's cabinet and now having to work under the leadership of Ani instead, but it appears from my point of view that he is far more threatened by the existence of the secularists than he is by making a small concession, which the lessening of the restrictions brought on by Prime Scholar Sosan would lead in this direction, that it would not be unheard of for something like this to happen. Just from my point of view, it's unheard of to be coming from First Scholar Ani.
What exactly is the problem with these terrorists, or what is their problem? What is their problem with you?
I myself cannot speak for the secularists, but they do not agree with the teachings that we are raised with of our true purpose in the galaxy and our true history as the chosen ones. They, as your very well-spoken science officer, Mr. Weber, had explained to me earlier, he sees religion through a scientific view, which I can appreciate. I definitely have seen a lot of good evidence for how some religions could be based in the sciences. Some of them take perhaps that view, and unfortunately they just will not listen to reason.
See, and your view is that you're the superior race in the entire galaxy.
I wouldn't say superior, definitely not superior, but we were chosen by the divine being.
Chosen? How do you know that?
It's in our records.
Really? And who gave you these records?
Well, they were written down. They were written down,
By who?
By our ancestors.
Really? How do you know that?
I've seen the records myself.
Oh, okay. Interesting. The shrine leans back.
The captain
Also-
gives you a very stoic look, but she...
Sorry, Captain. Got a pet rock in my pocket here that keeps Klingon targs away, too.
She nods without acknowledging that. And if we are to bring in these terrorists, are they to face the same fate as Lieutenant Drake? And the representative acknowledges that yes, they would have to face the same punishment for offenses against the sacred. And then she speaks out like, "But I can assure you, please follow me." And she stands up, and you go through a series of rooms into an area. This round, you follow along. There's a viewing area. There seems to be a whole series of floating monitors that are just rotating around on the ceiling. And she goes to an access panel, and she taps in a few keys, and one of the monitors floats down, comes to just about before the where all of you are standing, and it comes to life with a view inside not a very small cell, probably a bit smaller than the cramped crew quarters on the deGrasse Tyson. There's a desk, there's a bed, there's a chair, but there's pretty much nothing else. It's very Spartan. And you see Lieutenant Drake just sitting there. There's no windows, there's no door, there's nothing. There just seems to be a small slot in the wall that could open up. And he just sitting there motionless. There's no sound, there's nothing. It's just a very hazy, holographic type image of Drake sitting in this empty room. He is healthy. We have not harmed him.
Physically, I don't think you've harmed him.
Well, considering the alternative, I mean, he is fortunate.
So I can expect if we bring these people to you, they're going to share the same fate. Matter of fact, I'm guessing worse.
Possibly that would be up to Ani, but to be perfectly fair, they did intentionally destroy this sculpture.
Right. Now, what if their intentions were, I don't know, just... What if we find out that their what if we find out that their intentions were for the betterment of your societies? What then? We're still going to kill them, I guess, because that's the right thing to do.
That is not for me to say. I am not the scholar. If Prime Scholar Susan returns, I'm sure the debate will continue.
So be it then.
She gets back some documents, some information from other assistants. Said, you also requested to see the surveillance footage of the Sacred Garden, correct?
I'd like to see that, but honestly, it doesn't sound like it matters now, does it?
Well, in any case, we have obtained the recording for you, and you may view it at your leisure. And we are just doing our best. We are doing our best. I assure you, Captain. I would, on behalf of the true Prime Scholar, I would like to see nothing more than for this to be resolved peaceably.
All right, then.
The captain takes the information, and she turns to you, Fishron. She's like, take the surveillance up to the deGrasse Tyson and have Commander Locke get on it, get anyone on it, try to see if maybe there's anything that we could make any use of. I am going to remain planetside here to see if there's anything else I could do for Lieutenant Drake. I want you, especially Mr. Fishron, up on the deGrasse Tyson, and please tell Commander Locke you're to take the vessel into this nebula, the sphere of Zilzik. Try to track down this terrorist group, as they are referred to, and find out what you can.
Captain, I'll do that. But I'm not exactly sure to why as you hang out here. Again, what if you kick over a divine rock or something like that, and now we're not having to take out, Drake, now we're having to take you out.
Your concern for me is very, very admirable, Lieutenant. However, I assure you I am not going to stray very far from my quarters that they provide me here.
I'm not exactly sure that's going to help, but
The
I
representative
Captain.
speaks up. I assure you I will make sure that nothing of the sort happens to our VIP guest here.
A fine job you've done so far.
This should have never happened. They've never actually done anything so overt to attack like this. So forgive us. We were not prepared for such a thing.
Sharon just throws his hands up, and nods to the captain, and walks away to the shuttle to take off back to the deGrasse Tyson.
Okay. You leave to the deGrasse Tyson, and just before we go on our 10-minute break for hitting our 2-hour period, we're just going to go real quick to Lieutenant Drake. Right quick, okay? Immediately after this happened, you're dragged away. One of the guards is reciting to you this long list, very legal sounding thing of all these infractions that have been made, just the severity of the crime. Prayer is thrown inside the explanation there. It sounds like mumbo jumbo to you. They take you into their holding facility. They throw you into their processing chamber. Meanwhile, this guard is still reciting this long, drawn out, overly wordy list of why you did something so horrible. You're barely even getting it through your head that it has to do with the statue. I mean, you're thinking that's probably it. It doesn't make any sense what they're talking about. Meanwhile, they're stripping your clothes off of you. They're taking everything off, putting you butt naked. And then they drag you as they're still reading off this huge list and like, furthermore, the accused is, and takes you into the next room. And there's this huge machine in the room. It looks almost like a kind of angled, cocked stasis pod of a sort. It's very large, very wide capsule, and they put you inside this machine. You don't know if it's a cryo-freezing chamber or if it's some kind of transportation tube, but it's a very large tube, and as they throw you in, you're not shackled or anything, you're just completely naked. And this large transparent glass dome closes over the opening that they threw on you. You're just lying down on this cold, hard, jagged machinery while they're reading all these things off. And when they finally get to the end of the accusations, they say, and thereby punishment is to be death. And this machine turns on, and you feel this energy wave come over you, and it's just like you feel like you're being numbed. You feel like you're losing feeling in all of your body. It's a sensation that it feels almost like a transporter, but very different. You feel like you're being disintegrated inside this giant machine as this green pulse is washing over you. And then there's a big flash of light, this sharp stab of pain inside you. And when the flash fades out, you're inside the tube again, but you're in a very different location. It's a very dark room. It looks like a rocky subterranean cavern. And there are a bunch of masked guards with weaponry, rifles, standing around you, as well as a very severe looking member of the Zilzik species who's just watching from interest. You're feeling very, very disoriented, very, very uncomfortable. The cover slides open, and two of the guards who are unarmed come and drag you out of it. It's hard for you to get on your feet, and they throw on this jumpsuit on you. It puts this hood over your head, and they take you out, dragging you because it's hard for you to walk, and they bring you into an area which looks something like this. Hang on 1 second. Hang on 1 second. If I just move this. Let's see here. I gotta find where the tab is. There we go. And you're thrown into this big, what looks clearly like a mine with similarly dressed people in this prison garb working, digging, hauling heavy pieces of ore, and it's surrounded by guards and heavily armed soldiers at different points, and it's just full of prisoners. One of the guards just hits you in the back and has you stagger a couple steps forward and like, now get to work. And we're going to take our break here. Okay, 10-minute break. Okay?
Oh,
Why do I get the feeling like Bill, you wrote this whole scenario just to fuck with David?
yeah,
I was wondering,
right.
did you guys have a fight?
Apparently.
Now, okay. Before I hit pause on the recording here, just because this is important, I will let you in on something. Would you like to know? Would you like to know? Would you like to hear? While I was writing this episode, something bad was going to happen to someone, and I drew Drake's name, and I so kindly contacted him and said, something bad is going to happen to you. Please, please, please forgive me. Okay, just do your best. Okay. So
I mean, you didn't lead me to this.
I did not tell you what was going to happen, but I just didn't want you to be taken by surprise and make you think I hate you. Yours was the name that got drawn, and I'm like, I have to say something to him, or this is just going to be so uncool. So yeah, so he was aware something bad was coming. He just didn't know exactly what. And
I mean, at this point, David just has to assume that every time we RP, right?
yeah, pretty much. But David had heads up, and maybe now some of the odd questions I was asking you over the past 3 months are starting to make sense. So okay, so. All right, well,
one still doesn't. I'll make that out. The food one still doesn't make any sense, but we'll see about that.
Never, as my friend's grandmother would say, never you mind, child. Never you mind. Okay. All right, 10-minute break. I'm pausing the recording. We'll come back after a break. Peace. And it looks like recording is back. As you can see, Lieutenant Drake is indeed in a mine, and he is in his prison uniform. Bravo. It's going to be so hard to look at the screen right now. God, but that is awesome. Okay, so we're going to pick up again right after the commercial break, again with you, Drake, as you get shoved into this very dark, very stuffy, yet unpleasantly cold and chill subterranean type environment that is clearly a mine. And you see many people, a lot of them appear to be Zilzik, but there's also a number of aliens, including a large number of Nausicaans, who are imprisoned and working in this mine too. The Nausicaans are those beautiful, handsome creatures right there. And they are talking amongst themselves, sticking in their Nausicaan group. And you're kind of, again, you won. It has the potential to increase the difficulty on certain tasks of yours by 1. Okay? And let's see, I'm also not taking away any momentum from the scene change. Oh, there's my magic. Oh, nothing here. Not taking away any momentum from the scene change again, because we haven't really gone into a meaty scene that you would be using momentum anyhow, so I'm not just going to take it away just yet. Okay?
Cool.
All right, so Drake, you are staggering out there into the very dark and unpleasant situation. Nobody's really telling you what to do aside from get to work.
Well, I'm gonna turn around to the guard and ask, what is this and what is work?
He doesn't really. The guard, as you could see, the little masked people there are the guards. He doesn't laugh. He doesn't say anything. He just takes his rifle and he holds it up as if he's going to bash you in the face with it if you don't step away.
Step the fuck away then. I'll make my way over to, well, the Nausicans. They're looking the least threatening in this place, so I'll head over to them.
Okay. All right. Are you able to move your character yet? I don't know who has access.
No, I can't seem to move me. I just drag and select.
There you go. All right. Well, there we go. You're moved. Okay. So you move over to Nausicans. They're talking amongst each other and like joking around as you approach.
Hey there. I'm new here. What is this place?
They turn around. They turn around, look at you, look at each other, and just start laughing again. Like, welcome back, human. Welcome to the rest of your stupid human life.
What do you mean, welcome back?
They start laughing at you again, laughing. Like, you should go elsewhere, human, unless you want to die.
Apparently, I'm already dead.
And they start laughing when you say that even harder. Like, how about dying again, human?
Shit. And I swear and walk away.
Okay, as you're walking away, you see somebody very, very stealthily watching you from around a corner.
Are they, well, stealthily, I'll walk straight at them.
Walk straight at them stealthily. There you go. Put you side by side around the corner. As you approach, you notice that this man is Romulan.
Oh. Fancy seeing a Romulan here.
Like, shh, would you just keep it down and hurry, get over here.
Okay, I huddle over towards him and in a whispered voice ask, why shh?
Because I don't think you want to draw attention to the fact that we are not working at the moment.
What is working? What is this? Where am I?
These are the mines, okay? These are the mines. We are working in the mines. Forget that. First rule, okay? Don't talk to the Nausicans. I'm sick of saying this. Don't talk to the Nausicans.
First time hearing it.
Well, good. Remember it.
Rule number 2.
Rule number 2 is, if you're going to have any kind of conversation like this, you are going to do it when the guards are not looking. And in a hushed voice, like I am doing.
So what am I expected to do here?
We are mining deridium ore.
Oh, okay.
So you gotta grab some tools and you have to mine it. That is what they expect. There is going to be a quota that we have to meet every day, and if we don't meet it, you're going to have a harder time the next day.
What do you mean a harder time?
Because it's very hard lifting rocks with broken bones.
Why am I here?
He seems more and more frustrated. Clearly, you did something wrong.
I got tackled through a big sphere.
Was it a holy sphere?
I don't know, what's a holy sphere?
Probably what you got tackled through.
So what? I got tackled through a sphere and now I'm a slave?
Pretty much.
Is there a way out?
Well, so far, no. However, up until now, I've really only had the company of Nausicans to deal with here. And they're not really the most active up here, if you know what I mean. You're Starfleet, right?
Indeed, yes.
Security, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. Then we can get on with a plan to try to find a way out of here.
Count me in.
Indeed. But until then, we have to keep a low profile.
Okay. I don't know how to mine. I'm from a farm.
Well, then it has to be similar to that. Pretend you're plowing a field.
Didn't use a plow, but okay. And then I guess I'll start mining.
When they ring the chime for dinner, or what passes for dinner here, meet me again back here.
Okay. Is there anywhere I should go in particular?
Just make yourself look busy.
I'll try. And I'll walk off at this point to find, I'm guessing, a pickaxe.
Okay. And he covers his face as best as he could, and he scurries off in the distance behind you. Okay.
Suppose.
All right, back on the ship. Thishron has returned, but as for the research that everyone has conducted before the commercial break, we'll just say again, can you just remind me real quick, Lok, you were looking at the Klingon records for what exactly again?
For their, one, I was looking through any records that Starfleet has of the Klingon interactions with them, and then two, like I said, contacting my mother, who's the intelligence officer from Starfleet, for the Klingon, or in contact with the Klingons, to see if she had access to any records that Starfleet does not.
Okay.
Concerning the history between the Klingons and the xylophone people.
Okay. Again, it'll be too soon before you could get a reply from that, but your message has been transmitted. And again, the records that you're looking at of the interaction with them, there's nothing there. The things that I would say stand out, not necessarily as being weird, but just what stands out about them is clearly their strict adherence to the religion, but also the fact that they are very territorial, and they take any violations of their laws extremely seriously. Just noting from some of the logs you got from the Klingons, and that it appears that anytime the Klingons tried to make way through the sector known as the Sphere of Zilzik, anytime they tried to do that without the express permission of the Holy Seat, they were set upon by their security vessels, and they are of similar technological ability as most ships in this part of the galaxy. So they were able to drive out the Klingons mostly because of the fact that the sphere itself is just really hard to navigate if you don't know what you're doing, and if your ship isn't prepared for it, you're fighting the nebula as much as you would be fighting the people who are attacking you.
All right, and there's no record of any kind of diplomatic interactions between them, only small skirmishes.
Yeah, the Klingons didn't really do anything diplomatic in their 100+ years of random encounters with them, but once the two parties seem to know, okay, this is what the Zilzik are about, this is what the Klingons are about, they managed to get by without anything really official. It's like now the Klingons know when they're passing through, they transmit, we're going through. The Zilzik most likely will transmit, yes, follow these coordinates, go here, do this, and they try not to meet and shoot at each other again like they did in the past.
All right.
So the Klingons try to keep hands off, not because they're scared, but because it's not worth the effort.
All right.
Okay, Thadagia, you were the one looking at what part of their culture, just how they live, what they believe, right?
Yes, and pretty much any extenuating circumstances involving past incidents where the law was broken.
Okay, we'll say that when Thishron returned with the surveillance stuff too and the documentation, things like that, there would be some items there of how the representative mentioned that before there was indeed many incidents on their planet of people having the same fate thrust upon them. So basically, everything that you could find is there's nothing underhanded about what has been done to Drake, but it's actually a very they have a very brutal system for anything that is deemed a offense against the sacred. So the fact that the action that Drake was part of is classified as that kind of a crime, it matches up with what you see in their previous history. That anyone who is accused of this is pretty much instantly found guilty, because usually this is probably about the highest level of crime that you could commit in the society, so they don't throw around the term loosely. If there's anything that qualifies as being a offense against the sacred, it's usually a foregone conclusion that the person is guilty, and within that first hour afterwards, they are put to death.
Interesting. May I suggest, I'd like to refer to an incident that took place here with the Federation several years ago involving, I believe, the Edo people,
Mm-hmm.
in which a young member of the crew, if I am not mistaken, accidentally trespassed in some area and was sentenced to death. That was the ruling. However, they were able to appeal to their sense of justice, moral justice,
Mm-hmm.
in much the same way that they had believed that their directives had come from a divine being. But they were able to convince these colonists that it was in their best efforts to appeal in a sense of justice and mercy, rather than perhaps blindly adhering to tradition. I can only suggest this as perhaps an alternate route to take, perhaps appealing to their sense of mercy and justice.
Well, I think that's a perfect thing to use to lead into Lieutenant Weber's research too, as he was looking up for. Correct me if I'm wrong. You were also looking up cases such as this that have happened in the past, correct? So actually, what Thadagia has looked at, and again, since the two of you were kind of working on this together, I mean that's great that Thadagia basically shared a good chunk of it for me, so I don't have to say anything of the sort. But you found similar cases like that, as Thadagia pointed out, and you and the two of you have come across it, that there have been incidents where, such as this one that from a number of years ago, not too long ago, with the Enterprise itself, they managed to rescue their crew member by appealing to one of the senses of their culture, their cultural identity. But you've also, on your own, you've discovered there have been a number of cases where it didn't go as well, where there was no choice but to, without starting an incident that would possibly bring the Federation into a war or create a hostile environment with another superpower, the Federation had to just abandon their crew member to whatever fate they were assigned to. But you've also found out some very old, early reports of even pre-Federation days where early days of Starfleet where they were a little more gung-ho back then, and they kind of charged in and rescued the crew members who were captured. But again, those ones mostly took place before there was an establishment of Prime Directive. Although there are little vaguely worded reports that it may have also happened that way with other crews post Prime Directive. But of course, they're probably not phrasing it as such when they do their official reports.
Mm-hmm.
So the standard is, of course, you have to respect the laws of the planet, but you do find enough information that there have been examples of successful appeals outside of the normal court channels, as well as actions of actual, not combat, but offensive actions taken to return that captured crew member.
Yeah. And with that in mind, I might have a look at the nebula question.
Okay. All right. So you're going to start researching the radiation, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you'll probably be in the science lab doing that. Thishran, you're back with all the documentations and the surveillance footage too. So Commander Lulk, you now have all the stuff that Thishran has brought back with him. So it's your call. What's going on? First, the captain, of course, told Thishran to pass to you that your mission is to find the ones who are truly responsible for it. But you also have the surveillance material as well.
Are we currently in a meeting?
Where would you like to be? Because you're in charge of the ship now, so you make the call where everything's going.
All right. If we're not already, then I'd like to call a meeting between the senior staff to discuss the research that we've each done and further steps on where to go next.
Okay, then let's do that. Let's get everyone up in here. Okay, so you'll be able to get the reports that you've just heard from the science officer and the chief medical officer. So you'll be able to find that information out as well. And now everyone's in there.
All right. So from the information that we have gathered so far, I believe that we have two courses of action that we might take. And for the time being, we should begin to pursue both until we can see which ends up being the best course of action to take in the end. Our first course of action is, of course, the obvious one, which is pursuing their offer of releasing Lieutenant Drake under the condition of finding, apprehending, and turning over to them these terrorists, as they call them, the secularists. This, of course, has its own problems and questions that might arise. Our second course of action would be trying to follow the precedent of Starfleet and arguing, you might say, our way out of it through their own, appealing to their own cultural customs and sense of duty to their religion and God. For our first course of action, possible course of action, Lieutenant Thishran, you were discussing with the representative the possibility of a, so to say, prisoner exchange. You mentioned, or they mentioned to you, that this kind of overt action is new for the secularists, correct?
Yes, that's what they said.
So I wonder, seeing as this, they very directly want a favor from us. They want us to do something that quite possibly they cannot do themselves, or at least, if not for lack of ability, but lack of political or because of political restraints put on them. Could this not have been done on purpose by them?
Well, so anything's possible.
Because it seems odd to me that a secularist group would choose now or choose to involve a foreign a group of foreign diplomats, which is what we essentially were on the planet, in their campaign against the seat of power.
Are you suggesting a false flag operation, sir?
It might be possible. It seems very convenient for those sitting in power now, especially considering the recent developments with the first scholar going missing and the secularists being rising in prominence in their society. It all seems very convenient, to be very convenient timing.
Yes, I agree.
I can acknowledge your suspicions, but I almost want to think that we should go find these people and just ask them, what's their problem?
I agree. I think that's what I was leading to, is that if we are to track these people down, we should be doing so with the interest of speaking with them and getting another side of this story, not with the direct intent of apprehending them or let alone attacking them.
Sure.
We should also remember that the person running into that sphere really stood out from the others. And his uniform didn't seem to fit. He was much bigger than the others, so he might indeed have been a double agent of some sort.
So for the time being, I believe it will be very beneficial for us to try and make contact with this group. As for the second course of action that we might take, considering an ideal course would be one that does not involve the death of anyone, be it their people or ours, I think it might be prevalent for us to investigate their doctrine of religion, as we might be able to, dare I say, turn it against them. If the greatest trespass of law in their culture is to offend their deity, then perhaps we might be able to find something in their scriptures that we could argue the way that they have treated a guest or a foreigner is more offensive to their deity than the act of accidental defilement of a sacred artifact.
It might be difficult, as they see themselves as a chosen people and seem to look down on other species. But I will have a look at the scriptures and see if I can find anything.
I agree with him. To be honest with you, most religions that I've encountered make excuses for itself. And need I remind you that our captain is down there, and if we offend anyone in any way, we'll be having to save two people.
Yes, of course we would not want to make accusations while there is a chance of putting the captain in danger. But for the time being, I believe it will be prudent of us to do more research into exactly what their beliefs constitute and what rules they might follow that we do not know. As we did not know about this rule, there might be others that we can use in our favor. Does anyone else have any suggestions on courses of action we might take?
I'm not exactly sure how much of an ally we can see in the representative. She was very open to my views on religion and seemed to agree to a certain point. But when the attack happened, she screamed out the terrorists as if she was almost as if she was despising their cause. So I don't know where she stands and how honest we can be with her about our next steps.
I think
And we lost contact with one of the representatives after the incident, correct?
My understanding is
The first honored scholar, so the person who's currently running the government, who was meeting with the captain before this happened, has had to cut off relations to distance himself.
But we can still be in touch with the representative, right?
Yes.
What was the name?
Middleman.
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about.
All right. Well,
I think
if
we
it's
just
fun-
need to go and directly find these terrorists. The last time I seen Drake, he was sitting in a cell peacefully. He's fine.
well, if it's at all possible for us to find out more about the current first scholar, that also might be helpful.
Okay.
But in the meantime, I believe we should. Our first course of action will be to try and make contact with this secular group.
All set of course now.
Okay, so the first thing that's going to happen is you're going to need to prepare the ship for what you are to face if you're going inside the nebula. So the fact that there's a lot of dangerous radiation in there, and it's going to be a lot more intense when you go in there. You'll first have to do... Oh, I think there's a boarding party here. Excuse me. Hey, welcome home. Welcome home. Hey. Nice to see you. You want to say hello, everyone, real quick? Yeah, let me turn that off. Say hello.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome home, honey. I
Hello.
missed you. Okay, go downstairs. Papa will be done in about 1 hour, and then we're going to go have snacks, okay?
Okay.
Welcome home. Bye-bye.
Need a juice so we can have.
Oh, have your juice. That's okay. Okay, there we go. Boarding party. She's been gone for 3 days, so she just got back now. Okay, everyone can hear me. I plugged this into the right port, didn't I? Okay.
Yes.
So there will be some steps if you are going to hunt them down. There will be some steps you'll need to take first. Apologies for that. So that'll be things to do prep-wise. So what's going to happen now is, if that's the course of action that it sounds like it, I'll tell you what you have to do to prepare. We'll make the rolls for it. Then I'm going to jump over to David's scene real quick. When we come back to the ship, there'll be a chance if you want another social scene, because it's going to take a few hours to get the ship ready while everyone's doing the different preparations. You'll have a chance to do that again as well before everything's in place. Okay?
Yep. Also, if we could request, as part of the preparations, if we could request from the representative any and all information they can give us on the secular group.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, I mean, we can approach it from the angle of we are going to try and apprehend them as far as they're concerned, and that's why we need the information. But with the secondary interest of trying to learn more about the secularists and whether or not they're actually a terrorist group.
Okay.
Or if they were actually the ones that were behind the attack.
Okay. So you'll transmit that down. You'll probably contact the captain and see what she can find, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Do that. Let me just take a look at what would be needed for going into this nebula. Let's see here. So again, like I mentioned before, the nebula called the Sphere is extremely dangerous, extremely disruptive. again, you're used to experiencing very tumultuous bits of space in the Shackleton Expanse, but this is like a compacted version of that. So you have to make preparations against the radiation that's inside there. So it's just naturally safe to fly in case you stray off of the course, the safer course of travel in there. You'll have to do some. Let's see. For the modification to the shields is what it would be. So this would be something that's a control and engineering task. And again, you could get multiple people on that, but also because it's preventing radiation, which is a dangerous thing for people. Thadagia, this is actually going to need help from the medical department as well to make sure it's up to standards, that it's not going to, no radiation is going to be poisoning people. So you'll have a choice with how you want to do that, Thadagia. You can try to assist the role to help it succeed, or you could try doing something separately on your own and maybe making an advantage to assist that engineering role. So think about what you want to do there, okay? Let me just see if there's anything else that has to find. Right now, Thishran, you can also try to get started on this, or you can wait until you're on the course itself. Trying to track the terrorists, that would be, clearly they were on the planet, and they would have left via their transporter after this attack took place. So after they left, they would have, again, went into the nebula, wherever their little hideout is, to regroup. So you would be able to do some things to try to track ships that were leaving and the direction, the course they were taking at that time into the nebula. Try to narrow it down on what the...
Detect their warp signature or
Yeah.
something like that.
Something like that. Okay? So those are the big things that need to be going on. And again, there's still the previous idea thrown out of trying to find another way for the transporters to cut through the radiation, if that's even possible. So let me know what you would like to do, who would like to do what, before I jump to David.
What's our difficulty level as far as
For the engineering task, this one is going to be the one for modifying the shields. It's a difficulty of 2 with a complication range of 2 as well. And that's the one that medical could either assist directly by working directly with them to remodulating the shields, or by doing whatever other idea you may have to create an advantage, which would then help them later. Also, I want to throw out again to David. I know David's the only one that's off the ship right now, but we also have opportunity for, remember, supporting crew. If you happen to need a crew member that is not available, David is the one crew member who is not there, so he'd be able to create someone jump on the ship. Or you yourself could create a secondary member and use that person to be your lead character in whatever scenes that they are required in, and your main character would become secondary until you swap it back and forth. So every scene you would be able to say who's your lead, who's your secondary. So you still have up to 3 per episode for that. And there's still some other crew members that have been created in the past too that are available to use if you don't want to create a brand new one. Okay, so that's all there. You could talk amongst yourselves of who wants to do what and how you're going to do it.
I felt like I could just be looking for the warp signatures of the ship that got away.
Okay. All right. So Thishran is going to be doing that. Everyone else, what is your main goal, or even Commander Locke, what are you putting people on?
Well, I will focus on communicating with the captain and going through more of the cultural information.
Okay.
Um, and yeah, um, I'll let not Locke letting, but letting the players decide what they would like to do, what they would like to work on.
Okay.
Tadagia and Peppa.
Yes, I would. I will assist in, I guess, setting up the shield harmonics, either that or providing some medical expertise and maybe providing a radioactive inhibitor if we're going to be passing through.
Okay. In that case, I think maybe the assist would probably do a similar thing, and then that way, it could come down to one roll instead of two separate rolls. So, you could be pretty much adapting that into the modulation itself. So let's do that. So assist with modulation. Julian, how about you?
Yeah, I was looking at the radiation.
Okay.
As I'm more focused on cultural stuff, I don't know if anyone should help me because I don't have any focus.
Let's see
Which
here.
helps.
So yeah, right now, with the fact that Drake is kind of MIA for this portion here, this side you are kind of lacking a strong engineering crew member at this moment. So again, if anybody wants to do play one of the support engineering crew, that's possible. Or if you have another idea of getting around it. Again, there's also the that could even factor into Commander Locke himself of doing a command order, like you're directing the engineering department of what to do. So you're rolling command instead of having to roll engineer for that, and then that would be you could create an advantage that is the engineering team working on that, which would then be used by Thadagia taking the lead instead of basically supporting. And Lieutenant Weber could also add his assistance to that instead. Since, again, like he said, he doesn't really have he has the science part of it, but not the engineering part.
Okay, I'd like to also use perhaps a focus on a small craft.
Okay. Oh, what you want to do with that?
Just add that to my.
Oh, that one. If you make the changes for the shuttle, you can apply that for a shuttle. But for the ship itself, that one's not going to help you. But if you're going to also make those changes for the shuttle, in case you want to have a shuttle that's able to go out separately, that's definitely going to help you. Yeah, I'm just trying to take a look at here if there's any. Yes, yeah. The other focuses, I don't think they would work in this matter that, but yeah, neutron plasma power system probably not, but definitely if you're going to later apply these same things to the shuttlecraft, especially since you're a pilot, you don't know what you're going to find in there. That's a great idea to use that to make those same adjustments onto that shuttle, but it'll have to be done on the deGrasse Tyson first. Okay.
Okay.
But definitely keep that idea in mind. I like that. Commander Locke, do you want to do that? Try to create an advantage for him?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll have you do that first. We'll try to get these rolls done first, then go to David. So just very quick, just do it'll be a command. So I would say a presence and command roll.
And complication.
It's going to be complication range. Well, again, since we're following the same thing, we're going to stick with complication range of 2. The difficulty is going to be 2. You'll have your leadership as a focus, I'm sure. And you're going to need to have 2 successes because you're trying to create a advantage here.
Okay, so this is task roll 2.
Yeah. And I don't know if you're going to use any traits or anything, or momentum or threat or anything of the sort.
I don't think we're quite at the point where I need to use like bold command or anything, so I'll just keep it standard.
Okay. Okay, so you didn't pass that command check, so you're not able to get the... you gave the orders, but again, you didn't create the advantage for it, so it's not going to make any extra boost for Thadagia and Weber's roll. Okay?
All right.
But you gave the orders, and you're going to be getting your answer about the planet side stuff soon. Thadagia, you'll take the lead on this one. Then you're doing the medical side of it. Let me take a look at here. You're taking the medical side of it. So this is a... what are we doing here? For the medical side, it would be probably a reason plus medicine to give your advice on to how to protect the health of the crew with this. And so that was reason and medicine. And Julian, you'll be supporting that with what do you think? Either control or science and control or reason and science.
I think control.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense because you'll be like actually importing the stuff into it. Okay, so control and science, and let's see here. Do you want to? Again, you're assisting on here, so it's you're just going to roll the 1 die this time. On here, Gene, you are doing the regular roll, so you're rolling 2 dice, unless you're buying an extra one with either threat or momentum. Yeah, none of your traits seem to work.
Is there a threat level?
Threat level is at 6, and the momentum's at 3.
You know what? When you do this right, we'll use momentum.
Okay, so that'll be 3 dice for you. So you can roll first, and then Julian can roll next. Okay, you got 1 success there, and now we'll see what Julian's roll does.
Oops.
Okay, 15. 15, I'm not sure, I gotta look at your character sheet. That was control and science. No, so both of those have failed. So what's going on here is the command roll failed, and the medicine roll failed. So what happens in a situation like this is you can either burn, or well, actually, you could either add 2 threat or take a complication for the failing forward, where you get the things in place, but it's not as perfect as it should be. But that would be the only way forward from here. So it would either be 2 threat added to the pool, or creating a complication of this insufficiently modified shields. They'll do the job, but it's not going to be It's not that it's created solidly like it would be if you succeeded without this.
Okay.
So, which would you rather it be?
Would be sure about the result.
What's that?
Would we doubt the findings, or would we be sure that about the results?
The results would be it would still work. You know the thing will
Yeah.
work because
And you would know that,
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
and you would know that it works. It's
You
not
would
that we
know.
are doubting.
Yeah,
Okay.
you would know it works. The problem is that it's not going to be as stable, and you would know it's not going to be as stable as it might have otherwise been. But you
And in
know
order
it's
to,
yeah.
the other option is just taking more time to try and get it right.
No, because you
or-
failed the roll. You failed the roll.
Okay.
So the only way you could do this now is by failing forward, like they say. So
Okay.
if the whole thing collapses on its own again, you could be able to go back through and try to redo it a better way, or try to work on it in the process to try to strengthen it. But now that's going to take a lot more time. But for now, the best you can do is by failing forward.
All right.
It's by threat or complication.
Yeah.
I suppose I will go with threat.
Okay, so 2 more threat added to the pool, bringing that to 8, if I'm not mistaken. Terry was being very nice and adding the stuff to the Discord, but there we go. I'll do it. All right, just to keep the record. All right, so you're all working on that now. That's what you're doing. It's looking like you're not able to, for whatever reason, just how intense the radiation is, your lack of experience with this type of a nebula and how bad it is, you're going to be able to make the adjustments that you need, but they're definitely not going to be foolproof. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is going to be taking a few hours. You guys could think about what you're going to be doing in downtime, but I have to jump to, oh wait, Thishran, I want you to do your role too before I jump over to David. I apologize. That's right, you are going to, this is something also that is, first thing here is, you need to, crikey. This is going to take a, first a science and control roll because you're trying to scan the area, but I think you could substitute your con for the science on here because you're using your expertise as a pilot. So I would say a
Right.
con plus control roll, difficulty of 1. And if somebody wants to roll the deGrasse Tyson sensors and science to support.
Right. And this is task roll 2, right?
Task roll 2, yes. One you already passed, but if somebody wants to roll deGrasse Tyson, see if you gain extra momentum.
All right, I will try that.
Thank you. How's the deGrasse Tyson doing today? Sensors and science. Well, look at that. Okay, so you get 2 extra momentum on there. So you are you're running your scans and you're trying to pick out the warp trails of ships that have left the orbit around the time the attack took place and headed on a trajectory into the into the sphere. So you found a very likely trail. So the next thing you'd have to do is again try to find their trajectory once you're going in, and we could do that roll now too, just to get that out of the way since everything's open.
Okay.
And again, you have now 4 momentum also, so you would be able to use that for anything you need. This is another con plus reason. As a pilot yourself, you are going to reason from what you know of this nebula the trajectory they're taking from the planet. What is your best course to go in to make this search easier for you?
Okay. I'm going to reach out and see, do you think I should spend a momentum for an extra die on this one? Yeah. Let's just do it. All right. So it'd be a task roll 3 in this situation.
So task roll 3, and Gene, you can support. You can support also, since you got the deGrasse Tyson open there, with a sensors and con as well,
Okay.
assisting his calculations. So to dodge or the shrine, go ahead and roll that first. There you go. You got 2. It's a difficulty of 2. That's what you need. And what does the deGrasse Tyson give us? You got back the momentum you spent. There you go.
Nice.
All right, so you are processing the calculations there. You have the best idea of the route to take. That'll make things a bit easier for you, especially since the shields may not be up to snuff. Okay? All right, now, David, we're jumping back to you. Sorry it's taken so long. I had to get rid of that. We're going to jump to you back in your mines. So, David, I'm going to need you to do a roll for me real quick.
Okay.
I can find the mine here. Okay. So, the roll I'm going to need you. What? Okay, clearly I cannot grab your character now. Hang on. There we go. Gonna move him over here. Gonna move this guy here. You're working with this dopey looking fellow. All right. So, David, I'm going to need you, again, just like your Romulan associate said, you're going to need to make sure you get enough work done in a day, or you're going to face severe consequences when the day is done. So, everything you do is going to use up 2 time intervals of your work shift. Okay, and you have 12 intervals in your work day. They're working you hard. So when you're actually working to meet your quota, that's going to use up 2 intervals. When you're doing your little surreptitious meetings with Romulans and other things, that's also going to eat up 2 intervals in that. So everything you do is going to start eating into that time if you're not meeting your quota. Okay?
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to have you do that real quick. It's going to be a fitness plus security, difficulty 2. Difficulty 2, no increase in complication range. And this is done as an extended task, okay?
Okay. What's my quota? Oh, how many successes?
It's a magnitude of 3 and a work track of 15. If you recall extended tasks. I understand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So right now,
For a
all you
while.
have to do is try to roll. But again, you can use momentum for it as well. Or threat. And you are bold security, aren't you? Are you?
Yeah, so I can re-roll for a threat.
If you use threat, yeah, you get a chance to re-roll.
Okay, so I'll just do a normal roll on my first one, see
Okay.
see if I have a natural talent for mining.
Okay, yes. Okay. Drake, and it's a difficulty of 2, so no, you didn't do
Don't have a talent.
anything in that. So you used up 2 hours, and you made very little progress. You made very little progress in your 2 hours.
What's the threat at the moment?
Threat is 8 right now.
I'm gonna add 1 to re-roll one of those dice.
Okay, re-roll a die.
Please don't fail.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
I'm sorry. You're only going to be able to do that if you spend the threat before the roll. You have to buy the extra die with the threat. Just like you would with momentum.
Crap, yeah, I misread it.
Yeah.
I thought it was 1 threat to re-roll a die, not
No.
add.
You have to add the die first, so you have to already make it threatening first, but then the fact you use threat means you can re-roll it later. So this time you can't do it. So we'll just say after about a couple hours of working, you are exhausted. you have very little inside this little hover cart they have next to you, and as you're working there, one of the Nausicaans comes over and looks at your cart and starts laughing. You're even weaker than before, you puny human. Is your head okay?
You speak as if we've met before.
They just start laughing at you again, and he just walks off.
Okay. I'm guessing I'm still disoriented because I'm feeling it.
Definitely. So you spend a couple hours, and basically after that, you have a chance to go around. You hear the whistle for the feeding bell, and a lot of them are milling over to a serving line, and they're getting a very, very sloppy porridge-looking yellowish green stuff thrown into not even cups. They're not providing cups. People are bringing their own canisters of either hollowed out rocks or just anything that they have on them, bent pieces of metal, and they're collecting it in that and just sipping it that way. You yourself have nothing.
Anything lying around I can use?
As you're looking around for something there, trying to get your slops on, your Romulan friend, he just appears out of nowhere next to you, as Romulans are wont to do, and he holds up this hollowed out rock that he has two of, and he hands it to you.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Well, we gotta stick together, don't we?
Looks that way.
Please,
Let's...
go.
Okay, I'll follow behind the Romulan.
Okay, the Romulan goes, and you see, watching him, he's very careful not to make eye contact with the masked guards. He's just staring kind of at his bowl, going there, holding it out, getting the slop. Half of the slop misses the bowl itself. It just hits the floor, but he gratefully takes what he got inside his little rock. He shifts along. Your turn next. What are you going to do? You going to stare down the guard? Flip him off?
Oh yeah, I'll just keep my eye on the ladle to try and catch as much slop as I can.
Okay. So yeah, you see that the guards are intentionally trying to spill it, but you were clever enough to make sure that you caught as much into your bowl as possible. As you're walking back to meet with your associate, you see again, like up on the top railing, one of the Zilzik people who were there when you came out of your transportation tube. He is now standing up above, and he seems to be looking down straight at you as you're sitting there and eating your slop.
Okay, I'll gesture towards him and ask the Romulan, who's that? Why is he so interested in me?
The Romulan's drinking his gruel, and he takes a glance up, looks back down. Well, that's the High Warden.
So he runs this place?
That he does.
Any idea why he's so interested in me?
He just laughs.
Did I say something funny?
Well, I guess it depends on your humor threshold. Yeah, I guess as a new plaything, he would be interested in you. We haven't had a human here before. At least not for as long as I've been here.
And how long have you been here?
Just a couple years.
Why are you here?
Well, let's just say that my government had me on a reconnaissance mission to see what this holy seat of Zilzik is about, and I may have offended the wrong parties.
How'd you manage that?
That's a good question, isn't it? seems to be an easy thing to do around here.
Evidently, yes. So, what's your plan?
My plan? Well, the plan is that we're going to need some of your Starfleet security ingenuity. Try to find a way out of here. Brute strength of the Nausicaans is definitely not enough. We're going to need somebody with training and know-how, and while I do possess the brains, I unfortunately, and he opens up his robe and you see his hand seems very crooked and smashed as if it was broken and it healed incorrectly. I unfortunately can't do a lot of the more physical work on my own. You, Starfleet, if I understand Starfleet as well as I do, you possess a little bit of both.
I'd like to say that I do.
Now, I need you to keep your eyes open, take a look around at any opportunity, but I think the best bet for us would be to find our way through the elevator shaft.
And where would that be?
I will take you to it later, but we're going to have to make sure we keep a low profile. Any people standing around the elevator better have a very good reason for doing so.
It's a fair point.
So, what shall we say, after the next work session, you meet me back here, our favorite place. I'll show you what I'm talking about.
That sounds good to me.
Okay, now, why don't you save your energy and eat your slop over there. It doesn't look like you're making much progress, and I'm going to need you at full power if we're going to be doing anything.
I'll try the slop as he's saying this. How bad is it?
Pretty bad. Pretty bad. Very sour with a bitter aftertaste.
Perfect combination.
Perfect.
Yeah, so while I'm eating that, I'm also going to ask for any tips on how to mine properly, because I'm not having the best of luck.
Okay, oh, that's a very, very good thing to do. Yeah, you ask for advice on there, and you know what? I'll even let you do a roll. I'll let you do a roll on it. Difficulty of 2. If you pass, you could spend 2 momentum to create an advantage for you of knowing how to mine, and that will reduce the difficulty. So
I'm straight up using a threat. I want the extra dice.
okay, so you just need 1 threat for an extra die there. That is going to be a, I would say, right here is, what do you think? Insight?
That's my worst one, so I want to say no.
How about reason? Because reason, you're basically listening to advice. Reason and security, because it's a physical thing. Yep. So let's do that. Reason, security. You're trying to take it all in.
Come on.
3 dice for you there. There you go. You got 2 successes, and all you needed was 2 successes. So you can spend 2 momentum and create an advantage for yourself.
Yes.
There you go. So, David. Advantage. Advantage is like mining, tips and tricks. There we go. Now,
I'll take it.
What I want you to think about is, would you like this advantage to either make the difficulty easier for you, or what you could do, because it's an extended task, is you could create I forget what it's called, a quality or whatever, that when you actually succeed at the roll and you roll the 6-sided challenge dice, when the effect side comes up, it can do a lot more additional things for you, like counting as double work on the track.
What's the difficulty again? 2 or 3?
2.
2.
Or you could even Yeah, I got to look at what some of the other ones are. So I'll let you think about that. I'll let you think about that in the second how you want to do it, because we're almost stopping for the night anyhow. So for when we pick up in the next one, you could tell me how you want that applied to your role. But
That sounds
let's
good.
yeah, let's say just for now, just for this one, before you make your decision, we're just going to fast forward to the scene of you meeting him in at the elevator. Okay?
Okay, as long as I got some ore in the meantime.
Yeah, we're just going to do that. And what I'm going to do is, because total that would take 4 more units of time to do that mining and then doing this scene. We're just going to ignore the mining scene completely and just take 2 units of time. Okay?
Yay.
Okay, and again, once you do the mine scene, you'll have a chance of reducing the time too. So we'll get to that. Okay, so we do one of those little fade outs to where it's clearly hours later, where the scene is on emptier corridors inside the mine as you're sneaking around. And let's see, we'll take these guys out of here to make it look like there's less people around. Okay. Okay, and we will just pretend. We'll just pretend that there is the elevator is in this direction, but he's not going close to it. He's just standing around the corner, point to it, waiting for you. He waves you over very, 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 very quietly to come to his position. Like, nice of you to join me.
Got here as quick as I could.
He nods with his head, like, there's the elevator, and as you can see, the lift is always guarded by 2 guards. And as you look out, yeah, there is a pretty spacious elevator, and there are 2 guards standing on each side of it, just maybe 2 or 3 steps on a metal grate leading up to where the elevator is. 1 guard standing on each side as you look out. But you also notice that off to the left, just a little ways from the elevator, there's another smaller, narrow gangway, like a metal walkway, going across that's leading to a set of doors, like heavy doors. And now that you look at it, it looks familiar to you. You think those are the doors that you came out of originally when you were teleported here, when they started shoving you through the whole place while you were still getting your bearings. So you never even noticed the elevator on your way through, but you realize you're at the place near what looks like a transporter.
Okay. I mentioned this to the Romulan friend that an alternative escape route will be back through the transporter we came in.
Yeah, well, I don't really know how to operate their machinery, so it's up to you what you would like to do. But I think the sooner the better. We need to find a way out of here.
Why, the sooner the better. Is something gonna happen?
Yeah, people don't last long down here. And if the High Warden is looking at you, he might have some additional plans for you.
Okay. I mean, you've lasted a few years, so how did you survive for so long?
Let's just say that people in my position in the Romulan Empire have a knack for survival.
Okay. How would you want to go? How'd you want to do this? You're gonna get some pickaxes and take a swing at them?
I don't think that would be the best opportunity. I think the best way is either get past them or get them away.
Any ideas?
Well, the Nausicaans don't seem to like you if you want to start a fight.
Any ideas where I don't get my ass handed to me?
Well, how about if I leave that up to you?
Okay. I'll have a think before I decide to get punched in the face.
Yeah, well, now you know where everything's located, correct?
As much as I think so, yeah.
Then use your Starfleet training. Keep an eye on guard rotations. Keep an eye on how everyone acts. and see what you can come up with.
I'll do my best.
Just keep a low profile, won't you?
Again, I'll try on that one.
He starts to back away, and he's leaving. He wants to leave separately. He doesn't want the two of you to be seen together. So he starts going off into the distance. After he goes away, you hear the sound of footsteps approaching, not towards you, but in front, like where the elevator is. Are you
I'm gonna stay and pop my
watching?
head around.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as you're watching, you see a couple more guards come by, and they are pushing like a hover cart, and there's clearly a body on the cart with a tarp covering over it. And they're pushing that. It goes up the little walkway that leads off to where the transporter is. And so it looks like they're taking a dead body into the transporter room.
Okay, useful. Is there 2 guards escorting the body or just one?
The 2 guards are pushing the body into the room. There's still the 2 guards there standing at the elevator.
Okay. At which point, once if the door's shut, I'm gonna head away.
Okay. And you head off in the distance. And we're going to, the safest thing would be to stop it here for tonight. Now that we're just 5 minutes off from our stopping time. But we got our setup, we got our plan of what the people on the ship are going to do next session. And David kind of has an idea what his goal has to be for his next session. And again, think about anything additional you want to do at the start before you begin the hunt, okay? Lulk, I'll get back to you when we resume the game about the information you get from the planet once you contacted the captain, but it's just not worth getting into right now with so little time left, okay?
Sounds good.
But that's it. We kind of few hiccups, but we're kind of getting back into the swing of things, getting a feel for it. I just want to thank you all for donating your time, as usual, and let me stop the recording, and then I will say my proper farewell. So thank you, and see you again next episode. Thank you very much.